Madame du Barry is one of the most fascinating figures in the annals of French history. She is renowned for her beauty, charm and controversial role as the last mistress of King Louis XV. Born into modest circumstances, her ascent to the pinnacle of French aristocracy is a tale of ambition, love and survival against the backdrop of a kingdom on the brink of revolution. Her significance extends beyond her relationship with the king. She became a symbol of the excesses of the monarchy that the French Revolution would soon challenge. Her story provides a unique lens through which to view the luxury and eventual decline of the Ancien regime. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and also give the video a thumbs up. This really helps our channel grow. And finally, don't forget to hit the bell and select all notifications so you never miss one of our videos. And so with that said, let's begin today's story. Jeanne Bécu, later known as Madame du Barry, was born in 1743 to an unmarried seamstress in Vaucouleurs, France. Her early life was marked by poverty and uncertainty, but Jeanne's striking beauty and vivacious personality soon opened doors for her. She was educated at a convent where she acquired the polish of a young fashion lady, skills that would later prove invaluable. Upon moving to Paris, Jeanne's charm and wit caught the eye of high society. Her relationship with Jean de Barry, a well-connected courtier, transformed her fortunes. Jean saw potential in her and introduced her to his gambling establishment, frequented by the nobility. Here, her path would first cross with the aristocracy, setting the stage for her eventual entrance to the court of Versailles. Madame du Barry's transition from Jeanne Bécu, a commoner, to the king's mistress was strategic and serendipitous. After catching the attention of Parisian high society through her association with Jeanne de Barry, her path took a decisive turn when she captivated King Louis XV. The king, known for his indulgent lifestyle and susceptibility to feminine charm, was immediately taken with Jeanne's beauty and spirited nature. In 1768, under the guidance and ambition of Jeanne de Barry, she was formally introduced to Louis. Recognizing her potential influence and allure, Louis's courtiers facilitated her transformation into a suitable consort for the king by arranging her marriage to Jeanne de Barry's brother, Guillaume, which allowed her to gain a noble title. This maneuver was critical as it provided her with the social standing necessary to be officially presented at court, a prerequisite for any royal mistress. Madame du Barry's official introduction to the court in 1769 was a spectacle of both magnificence and controversy. Dressed in the height of fashion and adorned with jewels, her presence was impossible to ignore, and she was immediately the subject of gossip and fascination. Her ascent to the position of the king's mistress was formalized when she was presented to the Queen, Marie Leschinska, an event that marked her official acceptance into the royal inner circle, albeit grudgingly, by some. The reception by other courtiers was mixed. While some admired her beauty and vivacity, others resented her sudden rise and the influence she wielded over the king. Established members of the court, particularly those aligned with previous mistresses and the Queen, viewed her as an upstart and a threat to their positions and influence. Madame du Barry had to navigate a complex web of alliances and acrimony, learning quickly whom to trust and whom to regard with caution. As the official mistress of King Louis XV, Madame du Barry's life at Versailles was unparalleled luxury and constant public scrutiny. She resided in opulent apartments lavishly decorated to suit her tastes, featuring the finest silks, artworks and furnishings. Her wardrobe was filled with dresses crafted by the most sought-after designers of the time, and she had unrestricted access to the royal jewel collection. Madame du Barry's daily activities revolved around maintaining her status and influence in court. Her days were filled with elaborate dressings, attending court functions, and hosting sumptuous dinners that showcased her position. Despite her non-aristocratic origins, she quickly adapted to the rituals of court life, often dictating fashion trends and courtly manners. Her influence extended to the arts, where she became a notable patron, commissioning works from prominent artists and sculptors, therefore shaping cultural tastes within the court. While not formally involved in governance, Madame du Barry directly wielded considerable social and political influence through her relationship with the king. Her opinions often swayed Louis XV's decisions on matters ranging from court appointments to foreign policy. She was particularly adept at using her influence to favour allies and dismiss rivals, manoeuvring within the complex lattice of court politics with a combination of charm and strategic alliances. Her role also had a social dimension. She was expected to entertain and manage a vast network of relationships crucial to maintaining harmony and her position at court. It included organising events, mediating disputes among courtiers, and acting as an intermediary between the king and various factions within the court. Despite her lack of formal political power, Madame du Barry's ability to navigate these responsibilities underscores her skills in courtly diplomacy and social management. The relationship between Madame du Barry and Louis XV was characterised by profound affection and dependency, transcending the typical bounds of a royal liaison. Louis XV, often referred to as Louis the Beloved, found in Madame du Barry not only a romantic partner but also a companion, brought him joy and respite from the burdens of monarchy. Her joyful spirit and genuine care for his well-being gave him a much-needed relief from the political intrigues and personal losses he had suffered over his reign. Despite their age difference and her humble origins, du Barry managed to maintain a lasting bond with the king based on mutual respect and deep emotional connection. She was one of the few people who could lift his spirits and influence his moods, which affected his governance. Their relationship was so integral to Louis's life that he often sought her advice on personal and state-related matters, showing a level of trust and reliance unusual for kings of his time. Madame du Barry's influence on Louis XV extended significantly into politics and court affairs. Her proximity to the king allowed her to advocate for policies and appointments that favoured her network and, to some extent, promoted her interests. Her impact was also felt in the diplomatic arena. Her advocacy for specific alliances and her influence in appointing ambassadors and ministers shaped French foreign policy. The king's advisors often found themselves either courting her favour or working in opposition to her, which could divide the court and complicate political manoeuvres. However, her involvement was not without controversy. Many courtiers and public members viewed her influence as detrimental, attributing political missteps and unpopular decisions directly to her interference. This perception attributed to the growing dissatisfaction with Louis's rule, which would later fuel revolutionary sentiments among the populace. Madame du Barry's life underwent a dramatic transformation following King Louis XV's death in 1774. With his passing, her protective shield at court vanished, leaving her vulnerable to the pent-up resentment and hatred of the court and the public. Under the reign of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, du Barry was banished from court, a decision influenced by Marie Antoinette's disdain for the king's former mistress and a desire to break with the past excesses associated with the old king's reign. Du Barry retired to her estate, Château de Louveciennes, where she lived relatively quietly. She focused on her art collection and maintained a smaller, more personal circle of friends and confidants. Despite her retreat from public life, her reputation as one of Louis XV's favourites continued to haunt her, and she never entirely escaped the shadow of her previous influence at court. The French Revolution in 1789 marked the beginning of the end for many who had thrived under the old regime, including Madame du Barry. As revolutionary fervour escalated, her connection to the despised Ancien regime made her a target. Her attempts to secure her wealth and protect her assets, including a notorious incident where she tried to recover her diamonds from England, drew unwanted attention and further fueled revolutionary suspicions of her. In 1793, at the height of the Reign of Terror, Madame de Barry was arrested and charged with aiding nobles who had fled France and misusing the nation's wealth. Despite desperate appeals for mercy, she was found guilty by the Revolutionary Tribunal. Her tragic demise came swiftly. She was executed by guillotine, a stark end to a life that had once been defined by luxury and influence. Her final moments were marked by public spectacle and personal terror, reflecting the brutal reality of revolutionary justice. Madame de Barry's impact on French culture and the monarchy was multifaceted. She influenced the arts and fashion of her time, patronising artists and artisans, which helped set trends that persisted even after her demise. Her involvement at the court of Louis XV also exemplifies the power and peril of royal favouritism, illustrating how the personal preferences of a monarch could shape the political landscape and cultural ethos of an era. Her story contributed to the broader narrative that eventually led to questioning the absolute power of the monarchy and the structure of French society. In historical memory, Madame de Barry is often remembered with a mix of fascination and pity. Seen through the lens of her tragic end, her life story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of proximity to power without the protection of legitimate status. Her journey from modest beginnings to the heights of royal influence, followed by a dramatic fall, underscores the volatility of fortune. Madame de Barry remains a compelling figure in the annals of French history, a symbol of both the luxury of the old regime and the ruthless reckoning of the revolution.